From the outside, the vast mansion at the edge of the city looked like a palace. Tall marble pillars, endless glass windows, and lawns so green they could have been painted. Yet behind those shimmering walls, inside the heart of the house, lived a young boy who could never see any of it. His name was Adrian, the only son of billionaire Richard Hale. Adrian had been born blind, and from his first breath, his father's empire of wealth and luxury meant nothing to him. What use were golden chandeliers, luxury cars, and priceless art when his world was swallowed in darkness? Adrian lived in a world without faces, without colors, without light. He knew the sound of his father's footsteps, always brisk and hurried, echoing with impatience. He knew the delicate clinking of his mother's jewelry, the faint perfume she wore that passed by like a ghost in the hallways, but he had never seen their faces, never looked into their eyes, never felt the warmth of their smiles. To Adrian, his parents were voices and scents, not people. His world was confined to touch and sound, and often, to silence. From the moment he was born, doctors had said the same thing. His blindness was permanent. No treatment, no surgery, no miracle medicine could restore what he never had. Adrian grew up surrounded by wealth yet starved of affection. His father, ashamed and disappointed, treated him like a burden. His mother, though kinder, drowned herself in charity events and social galas, avoiding the pain of facing her son's condition. Servants came and went, maids replaced every few months, nannies paid to keep him quiet and entertained. None stayed long. To them, Adrian was fragile, cursed, or simply too much work. And then came Mary. Mary was not like the others. She was a black maid, newly hired when Adrian turned 11, after another nanny had left abruptly. She came from a small town, carrying little more than faith, determination, and hands roughened by years of work. From the moment she stepped into the mansion, whispers followed her. Some staff mocked her accent, her darker skin, her simple clothes. But Mary ignored them. She hadn't come to polish silver or gossip in the kitchen. She had come because she needed the job, and because deep inside her heart, she believed she was meant to care for this boy. The first time Adrian heard Mary's voice, something shifted inside him. It was soft yet firm, full of warmth, unlike the cold politeness of others. She didn't call him Master Adrian, or Achur, in a distant tone. She spoke to him like he was a child, a person, not a fragile piece of glass. She guided him carefully but never smothered him. When he stumbled, she let him try again instead of rushing to catch him. When he cried, she listened without rushing him into silence. One afternoon, Mary took Adrian outside into the garden. The sun warmed his skin, the breeze brushed his cheeks, and for the first time, someone described the world to him in colors. Mary told him about the roses, red like fire, soft like velvet. She told him about the sky, blue like the calm sea, endless and wide. She placed a sunflower in his hands and said it looked like the sun had bent down to kiss the earth. Through her words, Adrian began to see the world in his mind. Not with his eyes, but with his soul. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in miracles that happen when love touches the heart, please take a moment to like this video. Comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to the channel for more stories that will move your heart. As months passed, Mary became more than a maid. She was Adrian's teacher, his companion, his guide through the darkness. She taught him to read Braille, to walk with a cane, to feel the rhythm of music, to laugh without fear. The mansion's other staff looked on with curiosity. Richard Hale, the father, was displeased. He thought Mary was filling Adrian's head with false hopes. But Adrian's mother secretly admired Mary's patience. For the first time, her son's laughter echoed in the hallways, a sound more precious than all the jewels she owned. But there was something deeper Mary carried within her, an unshakable faith. She believed that love and care could heal wounds doctors declared impossible. Her grandmother back home had been a traditional healer, teaching her natural remedies and the power of touch. Mary often prayed over Adrian when he slept, whispering words of hope into the silence. One evening, Adrian had fallen while trying to walk down the stairs alone. His forehead had a small cut, and tears streamed down his face, not just from pain but from frustration. He cried out that he hated being blind, that he wished he could see just once, that he wanted to know what colors and faces truly looked like. Mary knelt beside him, her heart breaking, and cupped his face in her calloused hands. She gently wiped his tears, and almost instinctively, rubbed her thumbs across his closed eyes, whispering a prayer her grandmother had once taught her. What happened next defied reason. Adrian flinched at first, then blinked. For the first time in his life, there was not only darkness, there was a flicker. A faint blur of light danced before him. He gasped, clinging to Mary's arms. Over the following days the blurs became shapes, faint outlines that no doctor had ever promised him. The impossible had begun. Word spread quickly through the mansion. Doctors were called, specialists examined him, and all were baffled. His optic nerves, once thought hopelessly underdeveloped, had begun responding. They couldn't explain how or why. Some said it was coincidence, others called it spontaneous recovery. But Adrian believed, with every fiber of his being, that Mary's touch, her love and her prayers had opened the first window to the world he had longed to see. Weeks passed, and Adrian's vision slowly sharpened. He could see the outlines of furniture, the blur of his mother's gown, the tall shadow of his father. And then one morning, the most miraculous moment arrived. As he sat in the garden, Mary bent down to hand him a flower. Adrian blinked and gasped. For the first time the darkness lifted completely. He saw her face. Tears spilled from his eyes as he whispered, "Mary, I can see you." She froze, her own tears falling, and hugged him tightly. That day the boy who had lived in shadows finally stepped into the light. His parents were shaken. His mother wept uncontrollably, holding her son and thanking Mary endlessly. But his father, proud, stubborn Richard Hale, stood in silence for a long time. The empire he had built, the money he had spent, the doctors he had hired, none had given his son what this simple maid had. Finally he broke down, kneeling beside Adrian, asking for forgiveness for the years of coldness. Adrian, with the pure heart of a child, reached out and touched his father's face for the very first time, now truly knowing what it looked like. Adrian's life transformed. He went from isolation to curiosity, from silence to laughter, from blindness to sight. But more importantly, he learned that love is the true light. Mary stayed by his side, not as a maid anymore, but as family. His parents, humbled and forever grateful, treated her with respect, and Richard Hale even funded a foundation in her honor to help children with disabilities. Years later, Adrian would grow into a young man, his eyes carrying not just vision, but gratitude. He often said, "My maid didn't just give me sight, she gave me life." If this story touched your heart, please don't leave without liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and sharing it with someone who needs faith in love and miracles today. Your support helps us bring more stories like this to life. And before we close, we'd love to hear from you. Comment below. Do you believe love can heal even what science says is impossible? Because sometimes, miracles don't come from doctors or money. They come from the pure touch of kindness.